Hey guys, Justin Nelson here, and today we are going to cover reason number 2 that people do not hire virtual assistants. And reason number 2 is they don't know if the virtual assistant is working just for them or if they are working for multiple people. So today we're going to cover reason number 2 that people do not hire virtual assistants. Hey guys, Justin Nelson here, CEO of Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants. Thank you guys for watching. As always, we are going to cover tips and tricks around virtual assistants. So make sure you guys like, subscribe if you guys are watching all of my videos and want to see many more. But today we're going to cover part 2 of why people do not hire virtual assistants. And reason number 2 is people go, are virtual assistants working only for me? Or are they working for multiple people? So to kind of start off this, I want to start off with where does this belief come from? Where do people believe and what makes them believe that they might be working for multiple people? And so when we look at the internet and you look at options out there for virtual assistants, you have so many different options. Option number 1 is you recruit the virtual assistant yourself, right? You use like Craigslist Philippines, Online Jobs PH, you use Fiverr, you use Upwork, and you do what we call a self-recruitment, right? It's the cheapest option, but requires the most amount of legwork from you, and also obviously requires you to know a little bit about what you're doing in that process to make sure you don't get scammed or taken advantage of. And so a lot of those websites, like let's take Fiverr for example, or Upwork, those are what we consider project-based platforms. Those are virtual assistants. You can get a VA from India, the Philippines, anywhere, right? Nigeria. And so it's very similar to the concept that Sphere Rocket is. However, it's a project-based platform. Those platforms were designed to be project-based. So for example, I have a spreadsheet and I need you to transfer 1,000 names over to this spreadsheet. That would be a project you upload to Upwork. You'd say how much this costs, how much you're willing to spend. People bid on it and they're bidding on doing that job. And so those are what we call virtual assistant freelancers. Virtual assistant freelancers, their job overseas is to get as many jobs as possible and make as much money as possible. And so when I see virtual assistants that are on platforms like Fiverr and Upwork, those are what I call the entrepreneurs. They are entrepreneurial based. They love the thrill of chasing that next job. They love the thrill of bidding against others. They love the thrill of doing such a good job for you that they get repeat business. But with that thrill comes an entrepreneurship style. They don't like to work for just one person over time and commit all 40 hours a week, right? They can a lot of times make more money if they make small jobs. So, let's say for example, a video editor. A video editor charges $50 a video and they can get the video done in 10 minutes and you don't know that, right? Versus if you were to hire a video editor full time and you paid them $5 an hour, maybe they could get 3, 4, 5 videos done in 10 hours. And so when you look at platforms that are project-based, you see that those virtual assistants will work for many people. Now, let's just be very honest. It doesn't matter if it's the Philippines or the United States. When you're talking about people that are looking to try and maximize their income and they're entrepreneurs, you are going to run into more people that might not be as truthful as you would like them to be, right? If someone's getting if you're paying someone $50 a video and you're not asking them how much time it takes, and it only takes them an hour, right? When we try and get those people to come full time, right? When we put out a job ad on those sites that say, I want a full-time worker, a lot of times those people will go, I'll get this job. They don't realize how much time it actually takes me, and then they'll end up working for 2, 3, 4, 5 other people, and there's really no way for you to stop that. When you have a US-based government and a Philippines-based government, contracts and all those things really don't hold that much weight. They do if you go through companies that are based in the Philippines. Sphere Rocket's one that's based in the Philippines, but they don't hold a lot of weight when you do it yourself, right? And so with that being said, a lot of times people will go to these sites, they will hire people, and then they'll tell that person, I only want you to work for me. And then when they find out that person's working for 5, 6, 7, 8 other people, they become very upset. They become hardened, and it's not really anybody's fault. It's just you didn't know the process and you didn't know that this was a norm. And so with that being said, that's one of the top reasons why people do not hire virtual assistants, is because they are afraid that that virtual assistant is working for multiple people. And so that was option number one if you go to a Fiverr, Upwork, project-based platforms like that. The other two options to get virtual assistants is obviously going through a placement company like Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, where we manage a lot of that for you, right? We're managing the recruitment process. We're setting expectations with those virtual assistants that they are looking for a full-time job, right? Like one of the questions we ask a lot of them is like, hey, do you realize there's other sites like Upwork and Fiverr that you could also go be a VA on, and that you work for multiple people, set your own hours? And do you understand that becoming into the Sphere Rocket queue that you are going to have expectations of how this works, how the clients are going to want you to operate? While at Sphere Rocket, we can never tell a VA they can't have several jobs, right? That's illegal. You can't tell a human being that they can't have multiple jobs. We can obviously make sure that the hours that they allot to you, for example, if you need them from 8 to 5, etc., there's an agreement. They are an international contractor, so you do have to follow the rules of that. However, you can set expectations of generalized rules and hours and things like that. Obviously, that's a huge piece of that. And so that's option number two, is you go through a placement company that can handle that for you, where you actually get to keep your virtual assistant. Lots of pros. The third option is going through a placement company where they already have employees, they're already on their staff, and you do what we call, you know, basically a subcontraction of those virtual assistants. You subcontract those VAs. Usually there's a massive upcharge of a few bucks an hour. So instead of getting a VA at $4 an hour, you might get the VA at 10, 11, 12 bucks an hour, and you're basically subcontracting that virtual assistant from that company. Each year that company can raise the rates. Usually you're locked into long-term contracts versus a company like ours where we just recruit them and then put them onto your staff. And so with that being said, that is part number two of why people don't hire virtual assistants. And it's really crazy because a lot of times people will go through, they'll get burned once and then they'll never try having virtual assistants again. And that's one thing that Sphere Rocket set out to do a few years ago when we were formed, is to make sure that people in the past that have been burned by other virtual assistant endeavors that they do, usually it's their own doing, that we want to make sure that they do it right this time, because in a changing economy where we can definitely make sure that we're saving profits and moving forward faster, we want to make sure that you're not scared to move forward. So as always, Justin Nelson, CEO of Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants. If I can ever help you in the way of finding, recruiting, and training virtual assistants for you to help shortcut the process, just check out the link below and keep watching videos. There's a lot of knowledge on this channel about virtual assistants, and if you guys have a question about anything we just chatted about in part two of why people don't hire virtual assistants, just drop a comment down below and I'll make sure to answer it.